Are we live? Well, hello everybody. I believe that we are coming through to you. I know the audio quality might not be the best you've ever heard, but we will work with what you've got. We are in South Lake Tahoe, California for the 2016, how about that, 2016 PAC-8 championships. A whole crew here. We've got representations from Oregon and from Utah in the broadcast booth. And on the ice right now, we have Washington State and we have USC. That is the 4-5 game. Later on tonight, Oregon and Washington will have an I-5 Cup rematch in the 3-6 game. And great to see, really, Washington State back in this tournament. It's been a long time coming for Washington State. They have not appeared in the PAC-8 postseason since 2009. And they've really looked good this year. You know, their record, they're only 2-8 in the PAC-8. They had those wins. One came against Washington, one came against Oregon. But those are two of the, those are two historically of the better teams in the PAC-8. And I'll introduce you now, bring in my color guy, Dylan Lee. You might remember him from last year. Dylan's been on production this year, but filling in with some color for me today. And Dylan, great to see Wazoo here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've seen a lot from them in the past couple years. I remember, you know, just when we first started doing the broadcast about 3 or 4 years ago, we saw them just a completely different team, and to even have them, you know, show out in this tournament, it's great to see. You know, from what we've seen and heard from their game, it's improved quite a bit, and I'm excited to see what they can do out here.
Absolutely, and you know, absolutely a lot of credit goes to Washington State's head coach, Chris Soriano. I had a chance to talk a little bit with Chris before the game and with the USC coaches as well. And Chris has been back there behind the bench for Washington State 15 years. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's easily the most tenured coach in the PAC-8. Perhaps Utah, I'm not sure on that, but everywhere else, I just feel like there's got to have been some changeover. It looks like we're going to do some anthems here, so I'm going to stop talking momentarily. And we are back, so we got the anthem figured out eventually. They'll work out the kinks here as we go, and we are just about set, as we said, to get underway. If you are just joining us, this is the 2016 PAC-8 Championships. We know the audio and the video quality may leave a little bit to be desired. We're working with what we've got here technology-wise. Technologically speaking is, I think, what I was trying to say the first time there. But the plan is that we'll be re-uploading these games in a higher definition moving forward if we can. So we'll try and get you the best view that we can. But on the ice right now, again, we have number 4, we have number 5. It's USC and it's Washington State in a first-round game in the PAC-8 Championships. And as we look at these little flyers that Matt Coma so generously prepared for us, it leaps right off the page at you when you're looking just at the team stats and the history. You have Washington State join the PAC-8 in 1995, has not appeared in this postseason tournament since 2009, and then you have the most decorated team in the PAC-8 in USC, albeit it's been a few years. They haven't won since 2010, but they have been here before. And we are underway. Washington State gets the opening face-off, but possession slips back into their zones. It's crunched against the boards, and a couple of Washington State players collided as an inadvertent buzzer goes off and nearly goes to USC's favor. Boy, I think Washington State would have had a gripe about that one.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough start here for Washington State. Still getting their legs under them. First time they've been here since 2009. Obviously, none of these guys would have been there, so it's really their first foray into tournament play. I bet they're a little nervous, to say the least.
Absolutely. Well, USC did get that face-off win. USC is in the whites, Washington State in the reds. Suppose that does need to be said, as these two teams share a couple of colors. Washington State tried to get an attack going, flipped up, and a nice glove save.
What a glove.
By the Washington State goaltender on the bench there. And Dylan, can you see a number on that netminder for Washington State actually playing right now?
It looks like it's 31.
So 31 defaulting to my roster here. Look at that, 31 not on the roster.
Huh.
So ask the USC Trojan player to correct any discrepancies, and he didn't really point anything out. Here comes Washington State. Through the middle come the Cougars, and the shot and the save made. Good effort there from Ryan Mall from the Cougars, but here come Washington State. Up ice now through the neutral zone, rather is the Trojans. Has to be tapped away, and it is in fact 31, so we'll have to try and glance at a score sheet at the intermission to find out who that is. Behind the net for the Cougars, touched it, and now back up toward the blue line. Diving stick there from number 16 of Washington State, Nick Novoy, knocked that out of the zone, and now Washington State gains the red line, dumps it in. They will go for a change as it goes back behind the net. Sonishin giving just a little bit of chase there, but USC with the puck. Trojans moving through it in the neutral zone, chipped away and up high into the netting. Dylan, you and I talked at great length last year about how low the boards are here. Safe to say that one would have been over the boards at any arena.
Oh, absolutely. That one was at least 2 of me, and we have
2 of you, about 3 of me.
Probably some new listeners that aren't familiar with us. I'm well over 6 feet, so there's that.
In the corner it goes. USC trying to dig it out there in the Trojan zone. Washington State with really their first sustained possession. Backhand attempt, still loose. Puck is loose in front, kept in. Great job there by the Cougars. Keep it in the zone. And now a chance for USC to clear, as popping onto that puck is Paul McKay. And it's up into the bench.
That's probably something we're going to see quite a bit at this rink and at this tournament, as we've just mentioned. Boards are extremely low, which is interesting. Even, you do get down a couple inches when you're at ice level, but even still, they're fairly low.
Trying to get the best angle here, and puck just kind of sticking around in the neutral zone. Taken by the Trojans in their own zone, trying to get comfortable. And goes down the length of the ice behind the Trojan net. They sit up. And moving up ice now, you see the curling dots there. Something you certainly don't see very often. But it was interesting, I had this conversation with Oregon's goalie Jackson Harry when we had lunch today. And he said, he didn't like him at first, but once he got used to him, they're an assistance for a goaltender. Once you know where they are and where they are in relation to play, they can kind of help you find your angles, which is interesting because it's a thought that would have never occurred to me. But goaltending, as we've talked at great length this year, so much about vision. Here comes Washington State now across the zone. Miscommunication, though, and nothing happens. Efrenson now knocks it in. And the Trojans collect behind the net. 16:58 left in this first period. Still no score between Washington State and USC. David Beggert there, stick check going across the middle. And now here's an opportunity perhaps for Washington State. One-on-one, good, strong skating from Ryan Mall. And the net is well off its moorings. Great opportunity there for
that. Was a great centering pass. We've seen him so far kind of step up in the neutral zone. We saw him cause a miscue about 2 minutes ago. Almost gave Washington a 2-on-1 break, but they elected to just dump it into the zone, go for a change. I'm kind of looking to him to maybe do some magic. Maybe he's their player this year.
I think for the Cougars, it has a lot to do with getting contributions from multiple guys, at least on some level, but their scoring has been very top-heavy. They've got two guys on their team, J.D. Dunn and Zach Sonischen, in double-digit point scoring, and that's it. So for Washington State, certainly much improved this year. That next step is going to be having 3, 4, 5 guys that can get into double digits and not 1 or 2. But again, for Chris Soriano behind the bench for Washington State this year and the last 14 before that, really great work done. They don't get a lot of practice time. They don't have great ice access. So to see them out here in a big postseason tournament like this is really good to see. And I think the neutral party might want a call made there, but the neutral party might be rooting for Washington State as the underdogs in this tournament. Washington State's bench certainly wanted a call there.
Yeah, I think they were looking for maybe a high hit there. It did look a little high, but I thought it was just a good hit in neutral zone.
Well, USC's got to go back with it in their own zone. Cross-ice pass now through the neutral zone, pass too far, and icing immediately waved off by the linesman there. So Washington State has to play the puck, and a big collision behind the boards there, nothing intentional on it. The Cougars get possession, and that one off the linesman's thumb, and they'll shake that one off. I've taken a puck off the thumb before. It does not feel very good. There's a shot from Sosa from far out. Sosa, a big body for Washington State, wearing number 97. His brother Daniel wears number 6.
Anytime you have two brothers on the same team, you kind of look to them to have that natural instinct to really know where each other are on the ice at all times. We saw that in the past with the Solitza brothers that played for Oregon. You just kind of have that natural chemistry out there, which is hard to really rival in any scenario.
In the Sosa's case for Washington State, they are listed as a forward and a defenseman, but still communication there, and we'll have to watch on their power play unit, perhaps Daniel or Dom, or Daniel's a defensive one. They're Daniel and Dom, so they don't make it any easier, but might see them play together on the power play. Yeah, we certainly saw that with the Solids last year for Oregon, and it's been something that the Ducks have really still not been able to recover from losing. They just had such a great understanding of the way that those two guys played on that top line for Oregon. And now new guys are having come to do it. But back to this one, Washington State does just get the puck in just too far out in front. Angles weren't quite right there for number 96 of the Cougars, which is Avery Palchikov. Couldn't quite catch up with that one. Trojans now standing behind their own net. That was Paul McCabe with it. And Beggert dumps it in, giving chase on it for USC is Corey Newman. A couple of Cougars there, though, behind the net to collect it. 13:35 left first period on the official clock. Not many shots to speak of one way or another in this game, but it has been competitive. Trojans do just get it onside there, and slap shot through the zone from Jack Diana. And Trojans keeping it onside and in the zone. Trying to move it to the wing and then center it back. Can't get it though. And now, again, good sustained pressure here. Nice job by the D-men from USC to keep this possession alive. And backhanded shot didn't get through. Went behind the net, and now Washington State still just trying to establish something or get the puck, and that's just a desperation clearance. They'll have to take the icing on that one. Great shift from USC.
Yeah, if you're USC, you're definitely feeling pretty good right now. They got their legs under them. Great sustained pressure in the offensive zone. They had quite a few amazing offensive opportunities, great centering passes. No one at the end of them, though. And that's kind of something we've seen so far from USC. We've seen them go behind their own net and really look towards that long pass into the neutral zone, but no one's at the end of it.
Yeah, and right off the face-off, their best opportunity of the game, perhaps. Carter Radovan just put that one just wide, but there was a couple inches of cage that he had to shoot at as that puck is up and out of play. And you mentioned SC getting your legs under them. I don't know if you were there when I was talking with Josh Hafley, our cameraman today, about the bus troubles that Utah had, but he reports that SC had some troubles too. Didn't get in until about 5 o'clock this morning. So that's something that you have to deal with. And if you're a listener of the Oregon hockey broadcasts, you've heard me go on at length about this, just the stuff that you have to put up with when you are a club athlete compared to a varsity athlete. But you really have to do a lot. As we'll get back to game action here. Still SC possession, but they're going the wrong way in the neutral zone. And now Washington State gets some D-to-D passing going on, trying to set something up. Knocked down now through the neutral zone, giving chase on that one is number 20, Jeff Winiger. And USC is going to try and get set up. Stick checking on it there for Washington State is Ryan Mall. Big collision in the corner. Someone looked like they latched onto a stick. Sonachin tries to get a touch to it, but it will squeak out. Chance for USC if they really hurry. Good job clearing that out of there by Washington State. Little bit of ping pong action as Washington State gets some new bodies out there. And now moving up ice for the Cougars right in front of the bench, though. Ran into about 14 Trojans. And now good speed there. Look at Paul McCabe go. And McCabe still with it. McCabe trying to get a centering pass. Comes through. High slot shot is up and over the cage. That was a good look as well for the Trojans. Chad DeRosier. Chad looks like from this first little 9 minutes that we see of him, have to assume he's an offensive-minded defenseman because he was watching that whole play develop and was ready to come up in the slide. And even after that, was playing a little bit high up on a little bit high past that blue line. That was a large hit thrown by Washington State's number 52. Nick Torres is making his presence known out there. But still the puck glued to the Wazoo zone. 10:51 left first period. Trojans trying the centering pass, intercepted by Washington State. And now here come the Cougars. They'll gain the red line, they'll dump it in, they'll get a change. They didn't really have many other options with as long as that unit had been out there. Now here come the Trojans. Thought about taking it the whole way himself, did Blaze DeChamps. Hell of a name there, DeChamps. And instead it's Washington State on the puck now. Passing just not quite as crisp as you'd like to see it from the Cougars, and that's really prevented them from being able to turn more of these shifts into attack. This game, they don't look lost here at all. They look like they're meant to be in this tournament.
Absolutely, and that's kind of something I'm seeing from Washington State. We're not seeing them chain together much offensive We're not seeing them chain together many offensive opportunities, but what I am seeing them do extremely well is defense. And the only word that I can really think of to describe it is hounding. Every single time a USC player has the puck, they're there with 2 or 3 bodies.
Oh, one-timer, the offense we were looking for. And Washington State has taken the lead in the PAC-8 tournament. Wazoo 1, USC nothing. Did you see the number on that shot? Couldn't see it through Josh's back here.
Looks to be 19.
19 would be Ryan Mall. And Ryan Mall not one of the 2 that was circled on the sheet that we were given from Matt. So depth of scoring coming on, and really, that play, that entire sequence was a lot to like about it.
It's going to be huge. Like we were saying, we didn't see them get many offensive opportunities, but when they do get them, they look really dangerous.
They're going to get a couple more here as USC takes what we can only assume is a tripping penalty, and we got it right. Tripping is indeed the infraction. So Oregon, not Oregon, a little bit too early for that, couple hours too early, but USC will go to the box. Wazoo will go to the power play.
And, we were talking about this before the game. This rank definitely has an interesting setup as far as their penalty boxes. They're at the ends of each team bench. So it's really not as much a penalty as it is sit on the bench for 2 minutes and talk to your coach.
It's just an extension of the bench, but the coach gets to be there, which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing after you've just taken a penalty. I think for the SC coaching staff, might not be who that Trojan is the most looking forward to see right now. Just after letting in a goal to go down 1-0, you don't want to take another penalty. We're waiting on that number to be put up on the board so we can continue play here. And there we go. And that has to be a 2, right?
That's got to be a 2.
It says 5 minutes on the board, but it certainly looks.
And now the score is 0-0 for some reason. As we're trying to write our scoreboard, we have a major up there, which should be a minor. But
working out the
go ahead and thank our producer Bella Manning, because our scoreboard and our time are completely perfect.
So let's put that goal on the board for Wazoo, and again, I have to assume we'll take it down to a 2-minute penalty. They might just be keeping it unofficially. Well, maybe they'll let him out at 3 minutes. Was 5 minutes put up there. I can't say that I've ever heard of a major for tripping, and there was nothing that looked
Seems like there would have been a bigger commotion about it. But, we're in the stands, so I guess we can't really...
I think for Washington State, the goal is probably the bigger issue, that's not up there. But, again, it's on the score sheet, and the piece of paper is what counts for Wazoo. They look like they put one through there. Good last-moment save from the Trojans, still trying to get a read on that jersey number in goal in the white cardinal and gold.
Great pass from Washington State. Number 12 had a defender on him the entire way into the offensive zone, waited to the last minute to get that cross ice pass, and they had it wide open in hole number 2 up there, the top right, but he just couldn't lift the puck and shot it right into the USC goalie glove.
A 2-hole reference, not something we get very often. Short-handed opportunity for USC, and there was an enormous rebound left there, and nearly a short-handed equalizer, but just able to hop on it in desperation is Washington State's goaltender. If it is their regular starter, that would be Zach Stewart. Again, our roster does not have Zach Stewart. There he is at 31. He was hiding on me. So confirmed, Zach Stewart in goal for Washington State. Cougar player lost a stick there off the face-off, but is able to pick it right back up. And here come the Cougars setting up on the power play. Centering passes there, the shot and the save made. Rebound is out through, and another penalty coming up.
That's going to be a roughing or a cross-check.
Roughing, cross-check, something. Well, that motion, that's interesting, because the motion the referee just made was checking from behind. And that is not a given, that's 2 minutes. Of course, it's a sloshes. Trip is 2 minutes, but...
And here we are.
There was no conference between the referee and the timekeeper, so should be 2 minutes. Anything more than 2,
I don't think
you'll see that conference over there.
I don't think it was malicious. He started his momentum when he still had the puck and just kind of finished it after he had passed it. But that's going to be 2 minutes for him.
Well, 5-on-3 here for about 54 seconds. As the Cougars really just get to set up and pass until they find the look that they like the best. Good touch on it there from Beggard on the 5-on-3. You can't really try and do too much defending a 5-on-3. You really just have to put your body in the right place, but every once in a while if you can get a stick on it like Beggard did there.
Exactly.
You can do a lot, and this is really surprising to see David Beggard pushing that far up the ice, down 2 men. although he's there making life difficult for Washington State. They're having to commit 4 guys to their own zone on the 5-on-3 power play. So it's not a criticism of David Beggert. It's just perhaps a little bit surprising to see.
He definitely does have the speed, but as we were talking about 5-on-3 defensively, you're really just trying to not crunch down and get compact in your defensive zone. You're really looking to hold your spot, play kind of a zone defense, and look for any break in the armor, any error that somebody, like a missed pass or something like that, you can clear the zone, but stay at home is pretty much the name of the game there.
Washington State will have basically one more face-off on the 5-on-3, we assume, unless that 5 minutes is accurate, but no, up and over the board. So just a scoreboard issue. We're back to 5-on-4 hockey, but still an opportunity for 57 seconds for Washington State to try and turn this into a 2-goal lead. Regardless of what happens in this game, both of these teams will play tomorrow, and that is new. A 5th place game in this year in the PAC-8 tournament for the first time. So everyone who's invited gets 2 games, which is a real nice move, because for a lot of these teams, it is a major financial expense to get out here. And we know for, for these guys in general, club dues are 4 digits at most of these schools, if not all of them. So you want them to get their money's worth, as Trojans will just pounce on a puck there. Still 26 seconds left on the man advantage.
Yeah, it's they do host it here in South Lake Tahoe for a reason. It is neutral ground, and really the most convenient for everyone. It's fair that everyone has to travel, and this is kind of the agreed upon place.
A one-timer there leaves a rebound for Washington State, diving on it to the Trojans, and that'll dip around, but having to keep it in the zone, or able to keep it in the zone, we should say, the Cougars. Here's Efrenson shot through. There was a deflection opportunity in front, but they couldn't quite get everything to happen. Back to the big number 22. Another long rebound, and not able to get that one cleanly on his stick was Ryan Mall. Now here come the Trojans chasing that one down the ice again. It looks like not Beggert there. 25, not 23. That was Carter Radovan from Phoenix, Arizona.
Man, that was wide open on the left side, and we've talked about that sometimes on those deflections. The puck can be wobbling around. You just can't get it clean on your stick. Sometimes you get a little too high or just not at all.
Got a whistle there. Is that just like a kind of line infraction? Well, temporarily lost the puck. If you could only see the setup that we have here, you folks at home, as the broadcaster's got to be leaning on either side of our camera guy. We don't have enough space, so I will do my best to watch the puck. It is what they tell me my job is. Looks like it's in fact a penalty called against Washington State. They've got double zeros on the board, and that doesn't help us at all. Did you see the sign?
I did not. I didn't see the call. I didn't see the player that even called it on, so try to update you as soon as we can. So we see
the Selitzer stick lift making its return. Washington State to the penalty kill for the first time tonight. They get a good half clearance there, to only as far as the neutral zone. And Trojans will dump it, and the board will have you believe we're at 4-on-4, but that's still sorting out that mislabeled penalty from earlier. It is actually a 5-on-4 advantage for the USC Trojans. And the Trojans patient on the power play here. That's a word we've used to describe some of the better power plays we've seen this year, and it really is one of the most important skills on the power play, is just to let the game happen. You've got 2 minutes, you've got another guy, just make smart passes, let it come to you. David Beggert with it now. Goes all the way the length of the ice, and Washington State gets a chance to get a new group of guys out there. Short shifts are also very important in this tournament with the altitude that we're playing at. Lake Tahoe somewhere around, we determined around
6,300 feet.
6,300 feet, so playing a game like hockey, and both of these teams practice this morning as well. A very abbreviated practice, but a practice nonetheless. They've got to come out here and play. So it's challenging as we get an icing on the power play.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor, especially for for the PAC-8. A lot of us are at sea level, being Pacific Coast, league. words escape me at the moment.
Having trouble there, Dylan.
You know, first game, we are working out the kinks.
We are working out the kinks everywhere we can be. So good job there by the Trojans. Anytime you're gifted a face-off like that in your own offensive zone, short-handed, just helps to kind of muddy the water, make things take a little bit longer. As we've got just 26 seconds left on that mystery penalty to Washington State. Ooh, nice attempt there. Really good, clever look.
Great pass, right into the top of the slot.
And we got some extracurriculars after the play there.
Maybe some talking, but you know, it was a big clean hit by number 52 for Washington State, tipped out of the rink into the netting by a Washington State player, so that'll be a face-off in their defensive zone with 13 seconds left on the penalty. We'll see if USC can do anything here.
Yeah, again, you know, one face-off win would have done Washington State a whole lot of good there, but USC gets it instead. They get a shot fired, but as you heard and saw, it goes wide. One more shot on the power play. Now we're back to even strength. Shot comes through, great block there, and that is a big, strong man play from Nick Torres. Now here come the Cougars. Torres still with it. Torres flips it. There's a rebound there. They score! How about that? Washington State takes a 2-0 lead in the first period.
You gotta love to see that. You know, Washington State coming in, first time they've been here in 7 years, and you just gotta, you like to see the way they're playing right now. Great carry into the offensive zone by the Washington State player. He's being hounded the entire way. USC trying to force any error they could, but he was there, got a last-second backhand, and ended up being a rebound wide open on the left side for an easy tap-in.
Give Nick Torres 3 assists on that play.
That was huge.
And you can't credit him enough. That shot block to start it all, because remember when that sequence started, Washington State still shorthanded. SC fires a shot just after the penalty ends in one of those situations. It wouldn't have been a power play goal, but it would have been because of the power play. And Nick Torres, just big man, blocks it standing up, doesn't have to go down, controls the puck off his own block, takes it down, and ends up with an assist on the play to put his team up 2-0 in a playoff game. Big clutch play from Torres there, as USC is almost offside on that one. 3 minutes past now in this game, 3 minutes left rather, in this first period. SC has had probably the majority of the shots, but they trail 2-0 in the most important category. And that one into the equipment there of the the USC netminder.
We do have cough buttons this time, Isaac. I'd like to remind you of that one. If we'll have to bring some cough drops, some extra water for Isaac, as that's an occurrence at times.
Hard to broadcast it at altitude too. We'll go with that excuse. I'm not sure if it's true. Trojans with it. Trojans cross the blue line and will flip it in, and just right into the equipment of Zach Stewart, so he gets an easy save.
If you're USC here, you want to finish this period out strong. If not, if you can't get a goal, obviously you'd like to get one goal and go down at least, down 1 into the second period, but get some offensive pressure. You want a heavy offensive possession, a really long possession in your offensive zone, but we'll see what they can do.
Paul McCabe just threw a huge hit there for USC a couple moments ago, and I think you're exactly right. The Trojans would love to get a goal here before the end of this period, or at least just continuing more of that pressure. For Washington State, that would be wouldn't be the end of the world, but 2-0 is going to feel a whole hell of a lot better than 2-1. You know what? 3-0 might feel a little bit better than that. Don't count that out for the Cougars. Trojans take that one. Pass went astray for Washington State. And now that
just
one
given
squirts out
away.
of the zone. Chasing it down, I think may get to it first. Does in fact get a touch on that one. Is number 20 Kai Williams for Wazoo. Williams again, Wazoo again will keep that in the Trojan zone. 1:45 left on the official clock here. Here come the Trojans again. They'll dump it in. Washington State in the middle of a line change. USC standing, trying to get a line change eventually, but with the puck in the Wazoo zone, that cannon will wait. Shot comes through and took a strange bounce off the gold glove of goaltender Zach Stewart. No harm, no foul, though it'll just go back and USC regroups in the neutral zone. Trojans get the zone onside. David Berger with it. Beggert, rather. And up and off the netting.
So far in the last couple minutes of this first period, we're really just seeing USC kind of getting in their own way as far as offensive possessions, and passing really is the biggest thing for them. We're seeing them kind of sitting back in their defensive zone, looking for that long pass to the second blue line all the way through the neutral zone. It just gets picked off by these fast Washington State players.
Yeah, Wazoo does have a lot of speed, and again, Wazoo just looks absolutely ready to play, and maybe a little bit of that has to do with why with those bus troubles we heard the USC had. I'm sure they probably basically got here and have been sleeping since they got here. I don't imagine much good sleeping happened on that bus ride. 27 seconds left, first period, still in the Washington State zone. And a big hit thrown there, just enough to disrupt that and take it out of the zone. 13 seconds left. Washington State, I think, is going to just try and kill off this first period. Nick Torres made a nice move. Might cost him, though, and now Washington State will take one shot and hope maybe it takes some weird bounces. Nothing doing there, but I think the best-case scenario for Washington State, 2-0 after 20 minutes, and the Cougars are back.
Absolutely.
They are back with a vengeance.
We've seen them come out, and even from warm-ups and right after the national anthem, they were fired up. They came out here to play, and they're not messing around. They came to show everybody what they're working with this year.
Well, we are going to turn our own mics off for a little bit. We'll keep the sound on, so we'll have the ambient mic on. We'll see how that goes and try and get you some of the atmosphere here. Always great if you live anywhere within a stone's throw of Tahoe. Definitely do go ahead and check out this tournament. It's a great environment, a beautiful arena, great location, and we hope to see you in person at some point. Glad to have you with us online as well. We'll take a quick break and be back shortly. And back, second period of play underway. Washington State and USC, game number 1, PAC-8 championships in 2016. If you missed the first period, Washington State jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Their first appearance at PAC-8 since 2009. And once again, we'll have to say this a couple of times tonight. We know we're cutting at best in and out of live, but we'll get you back on a tape delay broadcast, and we're just going to try and treat it like a live broadcast and work on the internet after. So here is USC in the Cougar zone. They get a shot through, and it's right into the equipment of Stewart.
Man, they came out fast, won the face-off, and straight into the offensive zone. They wasted no time getting all of their players trying to get a goal early on in the second period, and that would be huge for their momentum. You know, definitely something you're looking for if you're the Trojans. We saw them come out, you know, fired up. They all looked focused coming out of the locker room. None of them looked disheartened or anything of the sort.
That said, though, is Washington State looked pumped coming out of that locker room.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
were ready to go. So, you know, we'll see. There's 40 minutes left in this game. I've often talked about the second period as being the most important period in a hockey game, especially in a game like this where there's still a little bit of that feeling out going on, as Stewart's going to have to make another easy save as the puck just kind of squirts towards him and finds its way underneath him. So 19:04 left, second period. Dylan, do you have any particularly strong thoughts on that first period?
You know, it was kind of even split down the middle. I was feeling like USC was kind of winning the first half of the first period, and then we saw seemingly out of nowhere Washington State just get a huge wind and all the momentum shifted. It looked like the ice was slanted towards the end of that second period. We're seeing a lot of fast Washington State players rather, and I think that's really their key on defense and offense. You know, even if sometimes they don't get the passes they're looking for, on defensively they're there every single time hounding the USC player, making him, you know, forcing mistakes, which is going to be huge in this game.
And a couple of more shots or shot attempts from Washington State there. We've seen them try that centering pass in one-timers successfully already, and you have to expect they're going to continue to go back to what's worked. As Colin, my regular color man, will say, if it ain't broke, why would you fix it? And that's sort of been the story for you, for Washington State so far, rather, is McCabe tries to do-si-do around a Cougar player. He's stood up and setting right back down to his legs, or his backside, rather. I suppose he wants to be on his legs. That's the good thing. That was the starting position for him. Washington State now trying to get it through the zone, not able to track that one down, though. And another big hit right in front of the Trojan bench. That one has USC standing up and having a little bit to say to Washington State. This is a playoff hockey game. You'd expect nothing less. As that puck, I believe, hit the ceiling. Yeah,
I didn't think they were going to blow that one down, but, you know, it took them a couple seconds. They finally did. And
we're going to try and work out some audio there. We're going to work out some kinks here. Be right back with the audio. And back in theory with a little better audio for you here. And I got the thumbs up from Josh, so it sounds like we're all good. USC with it. Cougar zone. Still with it are the Trojans. Get it back to the point. Sent right back down. So that shot goes wide. USC having a little bit of trouble finding the net here.
You know, we're seeing them firing almost every single shot they have high and wide. You kind of like to see them maybe pick a different spot, because it's just not working. You know, they're getting right into the slot, which normally is a high-scoring zone, but again, Washington State's there every single time, hounding them on defense, causing those turnovers.
Well, USC just got away with a big one there. Jeremy Blaustein made the initial save, but then the puck squirted by him and was just sitting there in the crease, and the only players to notice it were wearing cardinal and gold. So good damage control from the Trojans, but the puck still in that Southern Cal zone. Did you miss that one, Dylan? The Southern Cal zone?
The Cal, yes, the
big,
Southern Cal zone.
Has been a big, for those of you, the most people watching this broadcast that do not know what that's referencing, the phrase Cal zone was a favorite of the Oregon broadcasting games against UC Berkeley this year.
Oh, it's fun to say.
It's just fun to say. It makes you hungry.
It might be my favorite part of playing Cal every single time. Great guys, though.
And there with it was Washington State briefly in the Trojan zone, but now USC moves up with it across the red line. A bit of a rush from the Trojans there and just didn't get through the forest. Good job by Washington State blocking shots, and that's had something to do with their lead already. Had a lot to do with their second goal. Mick Torres' shot block created that entire play. Thrown toward the Washington State zone. USC trying to collect it. They couldn't get that one cleanly, and it goes back behind the net again. Cougars will get it, but only back as far as the blue line. Thrown in, weird bounces, rebound there again, but it goes wide. And that chance was begging for USC, but it couldn't be put home.
Oh boy, I guarantee they want that one back. That's one you don't see them miss very often.
And another shot block there, but didn't see where it was the Cougar player in Washington State. Where USC right back on it now, the clearance from the Cougars, and they will get some new guys out there, but they'll be sent right back to the bench as it's icing called against Washington State. Face off there, and as SC wins it, they get it around, and they are really good at cycling the puck off of the face-off, and they score. And yeah, I was about to make the comment that good control and good puck movement off the face-off can lead to good things. And before I could get the words out, USC put it in the back of the net. It's 2-1.
Great to see from the Trojans. Finally see them get up on the board. You know, they're still down that one goal, but that's huge momentum-wise. If they can tie it up, you know, it's going to be important for Washington State not to let another one in or not let many in.
Oh, but here's a 2-on-1 opportunity. And we saw Washington State score in a couple of pretty quick spurts. We nearly saw USC do the exact same thing. Instead, that goes down the length of the ice. Icing waved off, and SC will go back to get it. Washington State rips that one through. Not really a shot on goal. And now here come the Trojans. Numerical advantage, though, was for Washington State, so Trojans will just get it to the corner there of the boards and get a new unit out. Disappears toward the far corner. Sonicson going to get it for Washington State, along with Nathan Chang for USC. And just some stick battles in the neutral zone there. 13:38 left, second period. First game in the PAC-8 playoffs. The winner of this game, he gets to run into Utah tomorrow. Well, that will depend a little bit on what happens in the second game tonight. Would be the lowest, or the highest winning seed rather, will run into Utah. So that's going to be either Washington or one of these two teams, depending on what happens in game number 2, the 5th I-5 Cup game of the year between Oregon and Washington. And that's about all that this Oregon broadcaster will say about the I-5 Cup this year, because it was not pretty. That one goes all the way down the length of the ice. Icing waved off, and Washington State, in fact, will get to it first. Still not much of an attack at this period for Washington State. They do lead 2-1, but both of those goals came in the first. And SC now back behind the net trying to center it. just barely keeping it in the zone. And now it's Washington State with the puck. Go on, Dylan.
Well, so far we're seeing USC looking just a little bit cleaner than we saw them in the first period. We saw them not get those 50-50 bounces, and those passes weren't as crisp as they would like them to be, but we're seeing them really tune that up here in the second period. I'm looking for them to really put the pressure on Washington State. It's going to be important to see how they react. Washington State had a lot of fire in the first period. Can they carry it over and keep that momentum? It's slipping right now.
Yeah, and that's good to see because you want to see a good game. And you know, Washington State, I think this game, you know, the idea of being in this tournament, you know, not to say it's a victory for Washington State because I think that's an insult to say, oh, you got here, that's good enough. But you know, it's good. It is an accomplishment to get here for Washington State. It is something that they haven't done in a long time, and you know, they aren't satisfied with that, and they didn't look at all satisfied with it in the first period. But we saw USC look perhaps a little sluggish in the first, and you know that a coach isn't going to let that happen in a playoff game. So this second period stuff, we're going to really see the identity of this game start to develop a little bit. And for Washington State, it's going to be important to try and, you know, get that next goal. You know, tie game won't kill you if you're the Cougars, obviously, but you know, you want to just keep going with that advantage. They've had the advantage for most of the game, and now they just get that face-off win, get it into the neutrals or into their half of the neutral zone, and dump it in. Deflection in front again, and that probably is one that Blaustein will see a couple of different times when he closes his eyes tonight, but it went wide. Now here's Beggert. Beggert will chase it behind the net, and save made, and now we've got the bits of coming together.
Be important for the refs to, you know, really contain control in the PAC-8 tournament. It's, you know, with so many games in one weekend, it's can be at times a danger to lose control of the players.
And we saw that maybe a little bit in the championship game last year. Maybe that had to do with referees that, well, I'm not going to go down that route because it's going to get me in trouble. But it was something like 138 penalty minutes in the championship game last year between Oregon and Utah. And part of it is that there's a Western States Hockey League team in town, but there's not a lot of puck here. And, you know, this isn't a region that has, you know, other college teams or even club teams, you know, anywhere particularly near here. So for a lot of these refs, these are the biggest games that they've maybe not ever worked, but certainly the biggest games that they've worked in a long time. And, you know, you've got that. It's a playoff tournament. These teams have played each other in some cases for the last 4 years. So there's a lot to deal with for a referee, and they're going to deal with one of those things right now.
Absolutely.
As Nick Torres is banished to the penalty box.
You know, that said, I'm really liking what we're seeing as far as reffing staff goes. They're calling it tight. They're calling it fair. You know, no complaints at all. They're really allowing the game to progress as a hockey game, and it's
and that's all you can ask for, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely wonderful.
So Torres sits for 2 minutes. We get a look at USC's power play here. The Trojans did well cycling the puck earlier on their power play. One-time opportunity there. A rebound again squirts out, but not able to be tapped home, and the Trojans will just try and set it up again. Washington State, a little bit of aggression on the PK. Sonnichsen with a great move. Still with it is Sonnichsen, and had to be stick checked away from him. But that's a solid 5 seconds of power play time. Killed off by the big number 12 there, the captain for the red and white. Crimson and white, is it? What's the, if we could have someone tell us the official name of the type of red that Washington State wears. It's never as simple in college athletics as red and white.
I'm not a huge, I don't know my RGB values, but, you know, it looks red to me, Isaac.
That shot may have took a deflection on the way through. Ripped hard, though. I don't think it was stopped very much by that deflection. As the Trojans still centering it around. Then they try and get it to the middle, and tap in was further waiting there and off the netting.
Yeah, that was a dangerous clap bomb right there. And it looked like it took a couple deflections. That was just a rocket of a shot. You know, if that would have found the net, that would have been hard to stop.
Might have put a hole in it if it had found the net.
Oh, the Mighty Ducks.
45 seconds left in that period. 10:07 left in the power play, rather. 10:07 left in the period. It was actually we'll go with the Ducks reference. I'm not remembering the other movie. Something with a primate. So most valuable primate, was that the hockey one?
You know, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, we're back to game action here. You might have to kind of get the cattle prod out with Dylan and me every once in a while. Bring us back to it as USC on the power play, moving the puck around. 15 seconds left on that power play. There's another one coming up against Washington State.
Delayed penalty. That's going to be interference. Backside goalie. He's just bodying him up a little bit too hard.
Now, I didn't get a long enough opportunity to bring it up there, but it's something I want to make sure that it gets mentioned.
That's a cross check, not even interference.
Well, the cross check, the interference, it's all right.
They're hand in hand.
It's not like when we see a trip and it gets called
extracurriculars.
interference. But the in the NHL, you'll notice that teams will pull their goalie when they've got a delayed penalty. And in the NHL and in every other level of hockey that I am familiar with, if you score when the other team has their goalie pulled, you don't get the power play. The logic there is that as the defensive team, you can't touch the puck or the play's blown dead, so it's basically an extension of the power play. At the ACHA level, if you score in that, intermediary situation as the team that's about to go on the power play, you still get the power play. So teams will work really hard for that. That's a big coaching emphasis, I think, in this league, is to get those goalies out of there and then to, treat that like power play time. Deflections, I think that puck took her 2 deflections on its way through. Now here's an opportunity, could have been for Washington State. Instead, they'll just get the line change out there. J.D. Dunn was chasing that one down. Dunn is one of the top scorers for this team, but they had him go to the bench, conserve the energy here at altitude on the penalty kill. Opportunity for SC, they score. Great move in front by, looked like David Beggart there, and it's a 2-2 ball game.
Oh, absolutely textbook. That's perfect, perfect patience by the USC player there. He put it right in front of the goalie's eyes, made him stare at the puck, and then just flipped it right in. Left him standing. That's what you like to see if you're a Trojan right now.
So here we go. It's a 2-2 hockey game. Both teams have scored 2 straight goals, and now we have just about a little bit less than half a hockey game left to see how this one develops. And Cougars now chasing it behind the USC net. In front, they score. It's 3-2.
That is huge for the Cougars right now. No momentum lost on their end at all. Not even 10 seconds ticked off the clock, and they're back up to a 1-goal lead.
Listen to that Cougar bench, man. These boys are pumped. They're ready to go.
Absolutely.
That was so quick after USC's second goal. We didn't even have time to adjust the scoreboard in the arena. And it's 3-2.
3-2. That's exactly what you like to see. Trojans they had a good shot right there, got up, made it tied. But Washington, no love lost. They knew exactly what they were supposed to do. They're out here executing their game plan to a T.
And what you'd like to see for Washington State is for them to not have to have, the game tied. That one, I was opening my mouth to say USC got away with the offside, and the linesman wasn't going to let me because he was right on it.
Calling it tight, and that's
the
perfect.
lines especially. I expect to see the offside called super duper tight.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm all for leeway and penalties every once in a while, but offside is offside.
Yep. We saw exactly how Washington State's going to respond to a goal.
Oh boy, that's not how you want to respond to scoring one though, as it's the giveaway for Washington State, and USC has tied the game.
As I was saying, let's see how USC is going to respond to going down a goal as well. And same story, we're seeing just an absolute shootout right now from both teams. It's we got a barn burner over here.
Yeah, we got a hockey game here. We're playing hockey.
Probably the first time in my life that I've ever said that not facetiously, using the term barn burner, but it actually is a really good game.
You don't want to melt the barn too much. There's a rink. We don't want to melt that ice down. going to be a water polo game at the rate that we're burning up the nets here.
And we're back to hockey. Here we go.
And we're back. Here comes SC again. Shot blocked on its way through the middle. Cougars with it now. Oh, almost a great cross ice pass through the neutral zone. Still with it, though, is Washington State. As Sosa tries to use his large frame to create something there for Washington State. And deflected. Puck is still loose. I think a Trojan took out another Trojan there.
That was almost dangerous for the lower body. That didn't look like it was very pleasant for the Trojan player.
To say the least. We've got a whistle coming up here as the puck got lost.
Always fun to be out here calling these games. Got our man Josh on the camera, constantly having to adjust the white balance thanks to that ginormous window in your screen.
It's a great place to watch a game. That window makes it a beautiful place to watch a game. It also makes it a nightmarish place to shoot a game. But it's getting dark out there. We'll all be okay. Shot from the point for Washington State. Didn't get all the way through on Blaustein, and now the Trojans with it. Taking SC a little bit wild to set up here. And good stick checks. Here come the Cougars. Sonachin onside. Sonachin, though, good job to separate man from puck. Slap shot comes through, and again, Washington State spacing, leaving a little to be desired there. And it's going to result in SC hopping on that puck. 3-3 hockey game. It was 2-0 Washington State after this, or after the end of the first period. And now midway through the second, we're tied at 3. Goals came. We had 3 goals in the span of about probably a minute and a half of game time, if that. And no goal there as Washington State makes the save. Another good job done in net there by Zach Stewart, who is on the roster. I do apologize. Earlier I said 31 did not appear. I may have been looking at the wrong sheet.
That will happen. And get a stoppage in play here as we see a lot of the Ducks players trickle in, getting ready for that next game. We will be with you for the Ducks UW Huskies game coming up next after this one. But first, let's see who's going to pull away.
Yeah, you know, someone's got to win this game. There can be no ties in this tournament. It's not pool play. It's not single elimination, but you can't have a tie. So we'll do whatever we need to do to get a winner here. As SC fires that one wide, I don't know if SC's been going for that high top corner so often. I think maybe, I don't know if they've got a book on Stewart there from their games against him at the beginning of the season, but those were the first 2 games of the year for USC and for Washington State as well. And it was interesting, kind of, it's always cool at this tournament. The quarters are so tight, you get to be a fly on the wall sometimes. And we had one of those instances going on where we had the USC coaches talking to the Washington State coaches before the game while the boys kind of got loose and got dressed. And Chris Soriano told the USC's coach, "You haven't seen us because this team is so different than they were the beginning of the year." And even by the time that Washington State had played Oregon, you know, they had already developed a little bit, but they've got some new guys that they weren't here the last time these 2 teams played, from what we understand. So, you know, what you remember from the very beginning of the season, you can't always use in the playoffs, but it's good to have a baseline. Trojans on the puck, still cycling it. Now trying to get to the middle. Oh, what a backhanded shot there. And falling down and making that shot as he took that shot was Blaze DeChamps. And that would have been I can say would have been the coolest goal I'd ever seen if he had scored on that.
Absolutely. And, you know, USC bench kind of what seems to be looking like they're a little disappointed that they're not going to blow that dead. Played with a high stick is kind of what it seems like they're asking for to me, because it was played up above the post there. It did get knocked out of the air, but I don't know. Interesting. Quite an interesting turn of events there for about that 30 seconds. Looked like it was going to go 5-hole for a minute there.
Well, Beggart with the face-off for the Trojans. Kicked away by the Cougs, though, and not able to control it as they get through the neutral zone as Washington State. So here comes Washington State again. USC again, rather tipped forward by Corey Newman. And another save made by Stewart.
Kicked aside by Stewart, but no rebound given, which is good. He's tightened that up a little bit since the first period. We saw him leave it wide open on the opposite back post side quite a few times, but USC not able to capitalize on it. You know, he's looking good. He kind of does show high right and left side over the shoulder, but closes it down quick. I think that's what the Trojans are looking at.
And SC couldn't quite control that one, keeping it through the zone. Washington State now. Cougar player goes down. So does a Trojan in the opposite order of which I said it happened. And we've got a whistle blown by the linesman.
Multiple whistles. I'm not entirely sure why. It looked like
nothing looked like it was a trip there. It looked like two guys just kind of both caught edges.
Looks like they're pointing towards the scoreboard. Some interesting. Good no call, though, from either ref. There was no trip, obviously no trip on the Washington State player as he went down of his own accord in the offensive zone. Kind of unfortunate.
SC is not happy about this, though, they were about to get back on that puck. I think that if I had to guess what's going through Anthony Tabanji's mind right now, I think what he's lobbying for is a neutral zone faceoff. Because other than the fact that that's where the puck was,
I think he's got
no
a case
reason
for
to,
that.
and I think he does, because there's not really, a particular reason to give Washington State an arbitrary chance to get entirely set up. Off the rebound there, they score! And circle that play.
Absolutely. And, as
and
mad
SC,
as...
I think SC has every right to be upset with that.
As mad as the Trojans were before that play, I think they're going to be, they're obviously even madder now. I think they did have a case for it to trickle back into a neutral zone face-off, and that's demoralizing if you're a Trojan. We see them skating around, heads down. They got to shake that off.
They got plenty of time, though.
Absolutely.
4.5 minutes left in this period and 20 minutes left in the third, and then X minutes beyond that if we need it. But Washington State, just a great goal there, and they got this, they were able to get set up in front, and they were able to beat Blaustein, and it's 4-3.
There is an entire game left to be played. You never can tell what's going to unfold in the third period, and from what we've seen so far, it's going to be magical.
Was sitting in front of the skate of a Cougar player who did not know it was there. He could have just kicked it away and cleared it. Oh, here's Washington State again. Great opportunity for the Cougars. Centering pass there. Loose in front again, and now tipped away by SC. That would have been a great opportunity for Washington State to regain that 2-goal lead that has eluded them since they lost it at 2-1.
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. When we do see them click on offense, we see every single one of their players there. They're looking fluid, and they get those passes on point. It's tough to contend with.
As that squirts out into the neutral zone, USC and Washington both looked like they got some new guys out there. Definitely SC had the line change. And Cougars now trying to get it through the neutral zone. That puck just too far out in front of Dunn. And now knocked down Efrenson. And get a whistle. Looked like offside. Puck may also have bounced into the bench, hard to tell.
Some would say that's kind of what we're here to discern and figure out. But here we are. We're in this situation again. I can speak and I can kind of say some words, and we're back to hockey. So I filled some airtime.
You filled some airtime. Well done, airtime filler.
That's what
Puck in the neutral zone. SC with it. They will get across the blue line onside. Hit some legs there, and now opportunity almost for Washington State. SC, their damage control when they lose that puck is very good. They've been able to get back onto it. We got another penalty coming up here. This one will be against J.D. Dunn, who
that's going to be a trip.
Had a bit of an exhale on that call.
Huh.
Dylan, you just did the cross-checking symbol. Did you see the ref do that?
Exactly. He did a cross-check. I think he has more of a case for a trip, but either way. There was
there was a lot there. I think that's an all right call.
No, absolutely, yeah. There was a call to be made. He just kind of had to choose what he wanted to call. So, either way, good call. And we're going to see USC power play once again. Can they capitalize? Good. They have looked good. They've looked strong, and with the momentum they've had so far in the latter half of this second period, I'm looking to them to really score right now.
And with 2:54 left in this period, 2 minutes obviously on the power play. So if Washington State can get a kill here, they'll do a lot towards taking that lead into the third period. But if USC can score, they've got still plenty of time to perhaps take a lead of their own going into the third, as I think that net was knocked ever so slightly off its moorings. An amount only a ref could see.
Yep, that was just a little bit of a wiggle there. I think Washington State will take it, as they kind of looked a little lost after almost giving up one back post. Trojans almost put that in.
This SC power play has been killer so far tonight, and you see that cleared. I don't know if you may have gotten a chance to notice Jack Huebner just threw his arm up there, just anything trying to flail at that puck to keep it from going the length of the ice. And, that's the stuff you want to see. Playoff hockey is about desperation. It's about doing anything and everything to get your team that lead. Here on the power play, USC, they get across the blue line. They'll now chase that behind the net. 7-on-7 crime. It's Corey Newman and Aaron Patel that were chasing that one down together. SC just trying to shovel that one home, and having none of it is Mr. Stewart himself as the whistle comes. 59 seconds left, halfway through the penalty to J.D. Dunn. 1 minute, 52 seconds left in this second period of play. Washington State, in their first PAC-8 tournament since 2009, has the 4-3 lead.
They are looking strong. They've come out, and right from the very first puck drop, they've been fired up. You got to love to see it. This has been a great game so far.
Shot there from the point for USC, not all the way through, as Phil Foster tried to find a hole. Opposite D-man on it now, comes up a little bit high, and now back into the corner. SC with it behind the net, patience on the power play again, they get it to the point. Point-to-point pass, slap shot there, deflected, and Johnny on the spot one more time is Mr. Stewart. Zachary on the spot, does that work? That doesn't work as well, does it?
It's, they're a similar amount of syllables there. I'll let you get away with that one.
Got to condense it. Zachary on the spot.
Yeah.
Well, here are the Trojans again, and they're trying to get that pass through the zone. Beggert was in front looking for the tip there. And not able to catch that one was Phil Foster again. So SC has to go back and chase it. They've got one more rush perhaps on this power play. 13 or so seconds left. And David Beggert into the boards. He'll pay the price for it. And 2 seconds, one, and now out of the box is J.D. Dunn. And
oh, boy, this is dangerous. Out of the box.
I don't know that, I'm not sure that Blaustein quite had the awareness of where J.D. Dunn was there, but in the end, no harm, no foul, as it's able to be knocked along toward an SC player, and the Trojans with it. 4-3 still to score, 35 seconds left in this second period. Washington State would absolutely love to get one more. Here come the Cougars. Trying to get at the centering pass. It's loose somewhere and still loose. Referee must see it exactly. And now we get the whistle. Well, we've talked a lot on Oregon broadcast this year about referees, and Eugene have a tendency to blow that whistle awfully quick when that puck gets in a similar position, and it has cost Oregon some goals, and it has saved them some goals too. Because there's been a rebound or two that weren't in either direction, but ref had a good angle there. I got to assume he saw the puck.
Oh, absolutely. It was not shoved into the pad of the USC Trojan. Just kind of wide open there. Everyone was tangled up. Nobody could get to it.
And face off, 20 seconds left. Second period. Here comes SC. 11 seconds left. And you got a penalty whistled behind the play.
Slash.
A slash on, is that Sonichson? Is that 12 in red?
That seems to be, yep, that's who they're corralling. I unfortunately didn't see that one. My eyes were towards the front of the play, and it happened all the way back at the blue line.
Well,
So,
that's why you have to have two officials in a big game.
Yep.
You have to have two orange stripes, two actual refs that can make penalties, and this is something that our usual color guy Colin Catman has, as a former player and a referee, has brought up. Anytime Oregon is forced to play a game with a three-man system, it's just you can't see everything as one ref, and you have no business looking for stuff like that as one ref when the play's all the way down there. With two, you can see it, you can keep it tight, you can call those slashes as the horn goes at the end of the second period.
absolutely great
and,
call.
and maintain control of that game. So really a great 40 minutes of hockey so far. Absolutely impressed with everything that Washington State has done. When USC has hit back at them, they haven't gone away. They've been confident. They've been doing the right things, and SC's been playing very strong as well, because you could go, you could write the script where you get into town at 5 in the morning, you go down 2-0 at the end of the first, and it's game over. So, we're definitely sort of focusing on Washington State as the neutral party. They're the storyline. SC's been here before. They mean business. We know they mean business. But it's great to see this from Washington State. And, you can't help but root for them a little bit in this situation. So right now they've got a 4-3 lead. We've got 15 minutes on the board, but who knows when we'll actually be back for the second period, as they will do an ice cut, and we will be back with you. You know the great thing is, with every game Washington State wins, and we are back. Third period of play just about set to get underway. Washington State leads 4-3 after a very exciting second period. It was a second period that was just back and forth, end-to-end action, had goals from both teams in quick succession, and it ended just at the very end with a penalty called against Zach Sonachin for Washington State. As a result, USC is going to start this third and final period on the man advantage. That's what happens when the opponent takes a penalty. So we've seen USC's power play look very strong tonight. A couple of their goals, at least one of their goals scored on the power play. And, other power play opportunities have kind of led to other things and just kind of pepper the net a little bit. So USC is going to try and get that equalizer in the first minute and 52 seconds left here. But even if they don't, plenty of hockey left. 20 minutes is a very long time. Give me a key for Washington State to hold on to this one.
Oh, man, Washington State, do more of the same. I've really liked them. They came out fired up, and I think the biggest asset we've seen from them so far is not only their speed, but their heart. They're here to play. They're here to show every single person in here exactly what they can do, and I think they've done that so far. They're not content on defense to just let a puck carrier bring it in unopposed. They're there hounding them, trying to get stick lifts, trying to knock the puck off, force any errors they can. And I think that's honestly their biggest asset right now is their heart, and they've got loads of it. They've got it by the truckload.
Heart by the truckload. I like it. Well, we are set. The door has been closed, so turn off your cell phones. We're ready for takeoff in the third period of play here. Washington State, USC, PAC-8 game number 1 in 2016. Hope you will stick around with us after this. It's going to be on a different link, but we will have one more game for you, and that one should be just as good. Oregon and Washington meeting for the 5th time this year. Washington has 3 wins and a tie in that series, and you will hear me reference that tie about 486 times in game number 2 tonight. More on that later, but for now we'll focus on the teams that are on this sheet of ice at this moment, as Washington State passes it back in their own zone on the penalty kill rather here. Just trying to get that clearance, and they do. The carry-over power play sometimes gets played down by coaches a little bit, or they'll say that it's not as much of an advantage because the PK's legs are so fresh. And we got an icing called
on the power
against
play.
SC here, and that is something that will give a coach just turns coaches' hairs gray. I don't think there is anything more responsible for hair loss in hockey coaches than power play units icing the puck.
Absolutely, especially with what we've seen from Washington State so far. They've kind of committed, even on the penalty kill, to put some people in the offensive zone. They can be dangerous, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
And now they'll mostly slide back, though, as USC gets the face-off and will break through. David Beggart circled as a player to watch for us tonight for USC, although one of his teammates told us before the game that wasn't maybe so true, but you know how much respect hockey players have for each other. And what teammates love to do, things like that. So Beggart has shown us tonight he's circled for a reason, had a very pretty goal for USC going backhand right in front of the goaltender. 19:07 left, third period, 59 ticks left on the penalty to Zach Sonachin, who is, I think if you could pick one person for Wazoo that you want out there, Zach's probably in that conversation, so it definitely does hurt to have him go to the box, but they've looked pretty strong in the penalty kill so far, still halfway through it though. And clinging to that 1-goal lead is Washington State. SC in their own zone on the power play, getting set up here, trying to do it and do it the right way. Here it is for Beggart. Beggart gets around to man, flips it, he scores. Oh, how about that?
Great move to get around the Washington State defender, and then, just went top, cheddar, bar down. That was beautiful.
I think he heard me, Dylan. think he heard me when I said his teammate told us he wasn't that good. And that's something a teammate's only going to say if you are very good. And boy, did he ever show us why there. That's his second of the game, and it's a 4-4 game. SC scoring on the power play.
I don't think we're done with the scoring yet. We're going to see at least a couple more in this third period.
And Washington State has done a very good job of responding to goals, and they're going to get a face-off right away in the Trojan zone just a couple of seconds after that goal was put up on the board. The scoreboard shows 18 minutes, 41 seconds left in the third period of play. Face-offs have been, I think, one area that you would want to see improvement on if you're Washington State. And this time they will get the puck off of it, although I think it was mostly affected by an SC stick there. And now the Trojans with it hits a Cougar body, and now out of the zone, and will be just kind of chipped in. SC with it. Pass not super clean. Trying to find DeRosier there. And save made. Stick save made by Stewart up into the netting. Again, a very easy thing to do at this rink.
Yeah, we've seen that 2 times in the first minute of this third period already. We've seen it a handful of times earlier on in the game. And it seems like the play is just being blown dead more times than not so far.
And it's not a complaint. If it hits the netting, it's blown dead. It's just that the netting is a little easier to hit here than we're used to seeing.
Exactly.
Puck in the Cougar zone. Trojans trying to get possession of it. Pass to the point. Thinking about doing something with it there was Jeff Linegar, number 20 for SC. He's been great keeping that puck in the zone all night for the Trojans, and that's one thing.
Just about had an absolute snipe, about an inch too far above the bar. Just a little bit less on it, he would have had an amazing goal.
And SC has not led in this game yet, and it's the third period though, so we do expect probably the next goal I wouldn't imagine would be the game winner, but we're at that point in the hockey game where you really just don't know how it's going to develop. SC now in the neutral zone, puck squirts wide, cleared by Washington State. Touch on it, but only as far as the SC player who'll then just dump it in. Oh, is Philippe Gadebois. I believe I said that probably entirely wrong, and I'm sure I'll be corrected at some point. Philippe out of Montreal. Oh, taken away in front almost by the Cougars, and still maybe, but now it squirts through the neutral zone, taken back by Washington State's defense. Seems like the on offense, Wazoo's defense will play back in that neutral zone a little bit, which is interesting. You used to seeing them play right at the blue line to keep that puck out of the neutral zone. I think that's had something to do with their troubles sustaining attack, as a good save there, 2 saves really, made by Zach Stewart as he made the save but couldn't handle it cleanly, and then just kind of took care of his own deflection rebound. 16:36 left, third period. A 4-4 game. I want a fourth period of this one. It's been an entertaining watch so far, and it will continue to be. Puck is bouncing around like a rubber ball in front of the net now, taken by the Cougs. They will flip it up ice and give chase to it, and they get to it. They get the shot. Rebound is there. It's loose, and just up and over the net for Washington State. Beggared on it now for the Trojans. He's got some speed. Reminds you a little bit of Ryan Minkoff for the Washington Huskies through the years, although he just goes on the opposite side there. We're used to seeing Minkoff come on the near side to us, like Beggert did on his last goal. And again, back to this one. Ring it on back. Puck's out in front. SC trying to chop it away. Cougars do get it to the neutral zone and a touch on it, and now an opportunity onside. Here's Washington State. Offensive zone, they shoot, and that goes wide. That'll come back though. Shot now behind the net, and still trying to get up, a little bit slow getting up was the Cougar player there. Prevented the attack from being sustained. We got a penalty coming up against Washington State as soon as they can get a touch on the puck. Blaustein is out of the net, and SC still with it. SC on again this initial man advantage here. They'll get the power play regardless, but they do have the 6-on-5 now, and there's the whistle.
It's going to be hitting, I don't even know.
Looked like a
Boarding?
referee Tate there is facing obviously directly away from us. We're used to having the referees facing us, and it does look like boarding was the call. The only thing that would have made any other sense with him bringing that other arm out was slashing, and that wasn't a slash. So there we go, SC to the power play again, and they've been very, very dangerous on it. Here's SC. SC again, patient, focused at the point. They rip it through, and good save made by Stewart. Just is kept in. But now Efrenson going to go to try to get to that one. Can't do it. SC with a chance to center. It'll come back out to the point. And now back behind the net. That was Tabanji briefly with it, and now it'll come back out for Lineker.
Great patience on the power play by USC.
And they're just trying to get it through to the slot. They've kind of thought about these high point shots, and then they've gone to the fake shot, and then the pass moved it down forward to the corner and tried to cycle it back to the slot. Hasn't all worked out for them yet, at least on this one. That one, though, looked very good, and there was no one on the doorstep to tap that home for USC. 14:20 left, third period, a minute flat left in this power play for the Trojans. Washington State having a little bit of trouble clearing the puck here. Efrenson trying to dig it out. It is taken, though, by USC. They thought about the wraparound. Now back to Lineker. And now back to the corner. Centering pass again in front. I think that one might have been successful if they got it cleanly to a stick. But instead, it's basically they did the clearance job for Washington State there. And now Sonichin is just hounding SC there. 26 ticks left, and that one hit a USC body, couldn't be cleared out. Now it's chopped away and cleared just as far as the red line. Lineker with it. Lineker slides it across the ice to DeRosier. And now back behind the net. Beggar going to come down to get it. Lineker sets it down, excuse me, not Lineker there, but that was Corey Newman. Newman's trying to move to the center of the ice. SC with it behind the net. They try to center. Washington State's there. 13-18 left. Fanning on the shot is SC there, but puck still glued at a couple of skates, and now it will trickle down all the way across both blue lines behind the net, and almost kept in on a shorthanded rush there by Washington State. Instead, SC through the zone. SC with slight numerical advantage, and now Washington State with it. Washington State with some wheels. Here they go. Cougars in front. The shot, save made by Blaustein, but danger not over, and we got another penalty coming up on Washington State. Cross-checking the call with 12:48 left in the third period. It will not be a 5-on-3. The previous penalty had just barely expired, but it will be another 5-on-4 and another 2 long, arduous minutes for Washington State.
Boy, if you're pointing to opportunities for USC, they just had 2 huge ones. This coming up, their power plays look strong, but they haven't been able to capitalize. You know, they're great. They have great patience on their power play, really cycling it around, trying to get it to number 20 at the point. It looks like as they'll do again. He's not really seeing anything up there, though.
Yeah, he hasn't had that shot from the point. He's definitely thought about it a couple times, but it's got to be there to be there. Washington State pokes it out of the zone, but no control on it. Now Lineker will just throw it a long distance on Stewart. Stewart makes the save, goes into the corner, and SC will chase it. They try to center again and can't do it. They can't keep it in either, is having to go back to the neutral zone to collect it is Travis Schwartz for SC. Just so many names on this roster. Such a deep squad, and Washington State as well. Pretty good job filling out the roster pages. Something that Wazoo in particular has really struggled with in the past. They've just run into situations where they have not had enough guys. Here comes Washington State again. Oh, what a move! Oh, and not able to finish everything else there, but what a great, absolutely fantabulous effort there from Kai Williams wearing the number 20 sweater.
Kai Williams able to get around the defender extremely easily, and then great move on the goalie, able to deke him out of his skates there, and just absolute amazing opportunity backhand, but he just puts it high and wide.
There's another shot through, up. Say it again with me, into the netting. Kai Williams almost had the slapper there. If he couldn't have the deke, he almost did it with power. May still do. As Sonicson will dig in for the faceoff, but it's won by USC. Trojans setting up with it now. And Williams, boy, Kai is feeling it as he gets a body on a man there, separates Trojan from puck. And back for Blaustein now. SC setting up, 11:23 left, running out of time in regulation here ever so slowly. So we'll have this one chip. Still to the point, 20 seconds left on that USC power play. They try again to center. They've been working that same sequence play all night on the power play, and it's been successful for them, but I think Washington State has kind of figured it out a little bit here in the last 5 minutes or so of this game. Of course, it doesn't help that the last 5 minutes of this game have been pretty much exclusively power play minutes for USC. And cycling it around now. Trojans behind the net. They try the wrap around and just barely able to cut across his crease is Zach Stewart.
Man, they've had some great opportunities, but again, power play not able to capitalize like they were that first time. I think, like you said, Washington State has kind of figured them out. They like to cycle it up to the point and really get just a centering pass right into the middle of the slot, but they just can't get anything in there.
It's almost a little bit too simple, if you will. And I think Washington State, it's worked a little bit, but they've kind of figured out how to beat it. We are now back to even strength. 10:16 left in this third period. We are tied at 4.
And if you're PAC-8 hockey fans or just hockey fans, you couldn't ask for a better game to open up the PAC-8 tournament. This has been, one of the better games I've seen in my career in PAC-8 hockey. Both teams a lot of heart and not really, neither team.
And it goes without saying, another penalty coming up here against Wazoo.
Number 14 for USC goes down, not looking like he's not feeling very well.
Yeah, Phil Foster took a piece out of the boards there, and you understand frustration, but you got the call, so maybe he re-injured something. I don't know. There's a whole laundry list of storylines there. I don't really know that I'm just not used to seeing a player act that demonstratively when he did get the call. It was Daniel Sosa that's going to be sitting for 2 minutes, and Washington State has been their own worst enemy the last 5 minutes. It's 5-10 minutes. SC wins the faceoff. They get it right back to Lineker at the point. Now cross ice to the opposite point. We haven't seen SC emphasize their attack on the power play from what is the far side of our ice too much. And maybe they look to change that here and just give Washington State a different look. Getting through the zone and scoring on that one is Jack Diana for SC. It's a 5-4 game.
And there was no way he wasn't going to score on that one. He was determined, split the D, and kept the puck the entire time. Wasn't even looking for that cross-ice pass. He was feeling that one, knew that one was going to find the back of the net.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing
by
there.
any means necessary, absolutely.
So that is USC's first lead. Washington State has been very good today at responding to goals, but it's a big difference to respond to a goal that ties it or that makes it a one-goal game than it is to respond to a goal that puts you down a goal.
And that's huge, particularly because we've kind of seen the momentum go towards the Trojan side, particularly in the last 5 minutes or so. They've taken quite a few penalties and given the Trojans a lot of opportunities. And Cougars have been skating down for quite a while. You gotta anticipate and kind of think they're getting a little tired out there.
Yeah, and it just takes more out of you too. And I think you can't emphasize that enough, especially at altitude. Here, killing penalties is hard, and some more coming together there. Chad DeRosier and and Miller Jackson. That's a hell of a name, Miller Jackson. 2 last names there. And no calls on it, just kind of good hard hockey. But now a trip is called. And is that on? It's on Washington State again.
Seems to be a theme running here. Washington State, perhaps because of really getting a little tired, skating down a little too long, they're starting to make the lazy play, and that's kind of where they're getting caught up. They're getting called for those trips and slashes. It's got to be frustrating, to say the least. And
that is Avery Palchikov, who sits for 2 minutes on the trip. That one deflected into the netting. Good stick defense there from J.D. Dunn. Four to 5 the score. SC in the lead. 8:30 left in this one, and Washington State is once again killing a penalty. Been a while, and you do have to credit the Trojans for that, since SC has been banished to the box. They've played a very clean game tonight. Part of that, though, it does at a certain point, everything becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. One team keeps taking penalties, they get more tired, they get lazier, they trip because they're lazy and they're tired. And lazy's an unfair description, but it's an exhaustion thing. And
yeah,
you spend so much time killing penalties that it becomes that much easier to go for the trip, and then you're doing it right again, and then you're that much more tired. So the challenge for SC, or for Washington State rather, is to really just weather the storm here, get through the penalty, and do exactly that. Some good stick defense, but they couldn't get it out of the zone. Beckert shoots, and it's wide. And 59 seconds left on the penalty to Palchikov. Torres knocks a man there, but taking the puck with him was SC. SC's Beckert behind the net. SC going for that same centering pass again. It's just not there for them, and diving on that puck is Zach Stewart. 42 seconds left on the penalty. 7:18 left in this game.
We'll get some fresh legs out there. It's going to be huge for Washington State to clear this zone. Trojans are kind of rolling right now as far as their power play. They're content to just cycle it around and keep their offensive possession. Their numbers are stacking as far as possession time.
It's really interesting. You look at this USC team and the games that they've played. Very much misleading, because their record is 9-14-2. All 9 of those wins came in PAC-8 play, but listen to some of these opponents. Long Beach State, San Jose State, LMU, Fullerton on the road. Fullerton was at home, LMU on the road. So were San Jose State and Long Beach State. So they have played some of the best teams in this West region, and I think that's what you're seeing from the Trojans right now. It's just they're in the moment. They've played in these big games. They've played tough opponents, and now against a Washington State, they look for now of being able to do a little bit better job of finishing things out. Now we still got time left, and it's only a 1-goal game. By no means should this be interpreted as eulogizing Washington State here, because I think that the Cougars still have every opportunity to get back into this game, but they're going to have to get out of their own way if they're going to do that.
Absolutely.
Taken by SC. Philip Gadbois throws it wide again. And that would have been too many men if SC had touched it, so it'll turn into a good opportunity for Washington State, but 3 guys in the middle there for SC, only 1 for Wazoo. I don't think you're too surprised how that math turned out. As SC goes again, they'll drive on net. They try to center it. Puck is loose. Puck's still loose. And still trickling around, rolling around there, but Sonicson with it. And now an opportunity. Here's Williams. Couldn't handle it cleanly. Has to go back behind the net. Tries to center it. One-touch passing. It's loose there. Still loose in front, but SC on it.
Will go back for Washington State. Able to collect it in their zone, but can't keep it long enough as USC is there and hounding him.
And thank you for the quick pinch hit there, Dylan. Knocked through the zone. SC will try to shovel it back in. Both teams having a little bit of issues at this point making connections on their passes. But I think for USC, every second that ticks off of that clock is a good second. Puck behind the net. SC with it. Washington State trying to get set up as they have some guys get to that. And bodies falling down all over the place there. Cougars still with it. J.D. Dunn with it. He shoots. It goes just wide. Great opportunity from J.D. Dunn to steal that puck back. And now it goes out of the zone. Nick Torres will have to chase it down as a Trojan hounding him, so he gets it up for J.D. Dunn. Dunn lost the puck, though, and now rocketed in by SC. They'll go for a line change, as will Washington State. Where the Cougars maybe just finishing their change, getting another guy out there, J.D. Dunn, off the ice. Zach Sabar there for SC. And still some trouble for Washington State. Good job by Kai Williams there to avoid that hit. And now chasing it down. And Nick Torres with it again for Washington State. Good move from Torres. It's still Nick Torres, and now finally it's poked away from him. And it's going to go down all the way, but tipped, so there will be no icing. Let's see, Washington State has to go to chase that one down. Daniel Litchfield had the touch to it, and it's Litchfield still. Litchfield finds Dunn, and now cross ice looking for Sonicson. Couldn't handle it cleanly, could Zachary. And now SC poking, trying to take it away. Zabar throws it from about the red line and just gets an opportunity. No ice for SC to change. J.D. Dunn still with it. And Dunn will flip it by, and he's knocked up, and that's going to be a penalty.
Yep. And that's what I was waiting for. That was pretty late. It's going to be a trip call.
Gonna be a trip. You could write the script as that would be interference. Also, it was pretty long after he'd gotten rid of the puck. I'm glad the back referee saw that, because I'm not sure the front referee did. And you folks can't see this at home, but I shrugged after that action because I didn't see the arm go up, and it certainly looked live to me like a penalty. So here's the moment for Washington State. They're down 5-4. It's the PAC-8 champions, the PAC-8 playoffs.
Yep.
And there's 3 minutes 23 seconds left in the game that they have really controlled up to the third period. So they finally get this opportunity on the power play, and I think they're going to call a timeout here.
Definitely interesting to see how the Cougars are going to how they're going to react to this. They have 2 minutes of
it's a good timeout.
3 minutes, absolutely an amazing timeout. Good call by the veteran coach for the Cougars. 2 minutes of the 3 minutes left in this third period. That leaves not a lot of time left with full bodies on the ice. And for some reason now we're at 1:59 seconds as the scoreboard keeper has been kind of struggling tonight, but I assure you there is 2 minutes on that clock. So
just make him stay in there a solid second after. It's interesting because I think it was at I thought it was 3:22 on the clock when the timeout happened. And I'm used to seeing sometimes the clock will run and the penalty won't, but never seen that. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
And this is kind of where we're going to see the difference between Washington State and the Trojans. Washington State, as we've talked about, haven't been in the PAC-8 championship games since 2009. You know, maybe considered the underdog, but USC, they've played bigger teams, maybe more finished. It really comes down to who's got more legs, who's got more heart right now.
Yeah, hockey tournaments aren't always about being the best team. It's about being the hottest team in the moment. As that one's going to go all the way down again the length of the ice. Immediate clearance on the penalty kill for USC. 3:10 left in this game. Trojans with a 1-goal lead. Their first and only lead of the game, but it's the only one that matters as it stands. And again, that one will trickle out and looked for maybe half a second there like it would be a short-lived power play for Washington State as a Cougar there goes a little bit into the bench. It was Daniel Sosa that almost met some new friends on the SC bench all the way down the length of the ice.
USC penalty kill. We haven't seen much from them tonight, but, as we would have expected, they're finished and polished, having no trouble at all clearing their defensive zone.
Sosa again, but he can't get past SC there. And now Sonichin will try to chase that one down.
And tick, 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 tick. 48 seconds left in this power play. Can Washington State step up and get that equalizer goal?
2:10 left in this game. As of 7 seconds ago.
Oh boy, absolute miscue there in their own zone by the Cougars.
Short-handed opportunity almost for SC, but it was really one miscue for another. It was a gifted opportunity for the Trojans, and then they weren't able to complete any kind of shot on it. 1:46 left in this game, 22 seconds left in this power play as Daniel Sosa tries to get it through the zone. As Washington State's having trouble even getting zone time on the power play here, and you really have to think it probably comes down to legs. They do have, both of these teams have a bigger roster than Oregon has, and that's what we're used to looking at. But when you really look at the two next to each other, Washington State, or USC rather, significantly more bodies than Washington State does. Here's Sosa again. Sosa centering, one-time opportunity, not handled cleanly. Cougars trying to keep it alive. Sonicson back. Shot comes through, it was wide. Now back into the corner. The power play is over. There's 1 minute left in this game. The Washington State net is gaping. So 6-on-5 for the Cougars here, and that one is going to draw a whistle. Up into the netting.
Oh boy, huge face-off for the Washington Cougars right now. Wide open net. If USC can win it, as they've done an amazing job of doing so far in this game tonight, you know.
Yeah, biggest face-off of the PAC-8 season so far.
Absolutely.
There may be bigger ones tonight. There may be even bigger ones in this game if they continue, but it is going to stay in the Trojan zone. I think there were a couple of SC players that wanted a neutral zone face-off there.
And so it comes down to this.
And that face-off is not really controlled immediately by anybody. Now it's Washington State with the puck. Washington State against 6 skaters on the ice. No goaltender, down a goal. And diving on that one is Blaustein for SC. Both benches standing. 42 ticks left in the game. 5-4 the score. SC still in the lead.
Washington State not going down without a fight. We're seeing the heart that we've seen in the first 2 periods from them right now, as another timeout will be taken.
We're seeing some of the Oregon players come out of the locker room to watch the rest of this game in their new jerseys, and they are as good as they look in pictures in person.
They are nice. I would wear one of those.
Wear the absolute life out of that jersey. 42 ticks left. Looks like SC will take the timeout here. Just make sure that your defense is is ready to go. You know what everybody's responsibilities are. Who's got that 6th guy? How do you factor it in? 42 seconds is a lot of time, 6-on-5.
Absolutely. And, you know, if the Trojans win this, they're not going to be in any rush to really fire it down and try to get another open goal, open net. If I'm, seeing what I'm seeing from the Trojans, they're not nervous. They're not miscuing, playing things hastily. They're collected right now.
And Cougars trying to get some control, some possession off of that faceoff. It does go back behind the net, and SC's going to have an opportunity to go for it here. They'll fire it the length of the ice. They score! From about the red line at the opposite side, and it's 6-4. That one didn't look like it was going in until it was at about the blue line.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you realized, oh boy.
And that's going to just about do it for the Cougars. Absolutely an amazing game from both teams so far.
So Washington State, barring miracles here, will be in the 5th place game tomorrow. SC is a higher seeded team than Oregon is, so Washington State will, SC is the 5, Washington the 3. So Washington, boy, am I tripping over things here. USC will watch this next game. If Oregon wins it, SC will run into the buzzsaw that is Utah. If Washington wins it, SC will run into the other buzzsaw that is Cal. Although it's interesting from the Trojan perspective, they're 9-5 and Cal's 9-5. So I think they probably want Cal, and we got a skirmish in front. We got a flat-out fight here as we got 2 guys engaged and more guys engaged. There was really one main fight, and credit to the linesman doing a good job of diving in on that one. that will do it. That is the horn, so they'll just forget about penalties. Although it's interesting because if you do want to fully call that a fight, you've got to suspend the guys for tomorrow. So
Yep.
I think probably the referees are just going to say,
They're going to wave
and
that
write
off.
everything off
Yep.
and not do anything with it. But if this game had 10 more minutes or 5 more minutes or 1 more minute, it'd be a very different game. So we're going to take a break here and get some hydration into us before this next game. The final score here, USC pulls ahead in the third period and downs Washington State 6-4.